Yes, but first I'd like to say about the deficit, just to respond. I think also that, I think the deficit right now is a national security issue. We had on the news today, InBev comes in and can buy a national treasure from us. It's because of the value of the dollar. The deficit and inflation is causing the value of the dollar to plummet, and this is not the last of these national treasures that we're going to hear about that are up for sale because they're on fire sale from the value of the dollar. Now about the T-word taxes. The failed Bush policies have completely crunched the middle class. There's been an incredible amount of transfer of wealth to the wealthy. It is time for us to make work pay. And that is Obama's term and his tax cuts, which I think are a good idea to strengthen the middle class. Once we strengthen the middle class, you're going to see people have money in their pockets to spend at home. And that's really, really important to our economy. It's just to have people who can spend some money, who have a little bit of discretionary income. We have rewarded wealth and forgotten how to reward work. We must reward work, and so the middle class tax cuts, the make work pay tax cuts that Obama is proposing are probably a good idea. In that 150 million households would benefit from the middle class tax cuts.
Just going back what we were talking about earlier, all along our campaign, we've been campaigning on our theme, which is Rebuild America. It's a program to rebuild our infrastructure, not only here in the 9th District, but all across the country, bring federal dollars back in, rebuild our infrastructure, whether it's roads, bridges, water systems, whatever needs to be done in our infrastructure. And in doing that, we'll make our country a better place to live and work, but we'll create these jobs that we've been talking about.
Mr. Graw, very quickly, you endorse Barack Obama's tax plan?
Not completely, and I don't endorse things based upon whether they're a Democratic or Republican idea. I believe it's important for us to have people who are independent thinkers, and I think that's what this district is about. I mean, Ken can tell you, we worked on some significant tax cuts for working families that we passed in the 1990s, including the elimination of general sales tax on food and lowering income taxes for middle-class Missourians. I believe it's important for us to provide working families with tax relief, but I also want to say this: we've got to be careful about how we deal with taxes when we're dealing with this deficit and with this economy, and it's important that we do the right things to get this economy back on track. And I really believe that we've got to get busy on trying to do what we can to keep the squeeze off of working families that they're on right now. Too many of these families are in a position that they haven't been in before, where they've got their checkbooks going in the wrong direction, credit card bills in a very difficult position, and if they're trying to pay a mortgage payment and these gas prices, a lot of people are struggling today. We have got to deal with this economy and gas prices. We've got to put ourselves in a position where we're pulling out the stops to bring this economy around.
I want to say one last thing, and I wish the Republicans were more reasonable people. Oftentimes when I'm debating Republicans, they refer to me as this big tax and spend liberal. But I was the person who handled the constitutional amendment that required the citizens of Missouri to approve of all tax increases. I was the first person who handled the sales tax cut on food, and Steve followed the next year. And then the next year, I handled the dependent deduction tax cut, and Steve handled it with me. And then the next year, we did the personal deduction tax cut. And so if you look at the two guys here, we're the biggest tax cutters in Missouri history. Sometimes you just have to be reasonable about the way you solve problems. I believe in low taxes and I believe in small government, but I also believe in solving problems, and you have to have a rational reason for addressing certain issues. Hank Waters wrote an editorial the other day about highways. I mean, we have to address Missouri's infrastructure, They're not going to build themselves. At some point in time, people are going to have to pay to have roads in the state.